Hi guys, we've been working on this for the last few months and I'm really excited to share it with you, and it's inside this box. Inside the box isn't just a bright light, it's the new Full Billet Magnetic Shift Paddles by MAED. They follow the design of the previous paddles we've had made, which flow very nicely with both the F and G series interiors, but the main thing with these is the actuation. That click and feel is so tactile and satisfying, I can't explain it to you. Once you have it in your hand, you want to keep clicking it. And in terms of driving experience, it's just going to add something that you can feel every time you shift. This one is finished in brushed titanium, so it's a slightly lighter color. And in this box we have the dark anthracite, which is also a brushed finish and is a slightly darker color. Fans of the channel would know I wasn't a massive fan of these plastic paddles that come with the car. They feel quite cheap compared to billet, and our normal billet paddle upgrade was a massive improvement in terms of feel, but still have a problem here with the switch. It's quite mushy when you compare it against the magnetic one. It's so much more tactile and satisfying. What we're going to do now is fit these to the G87 M2 behind me.
Now that Imran's shown you the product and how it works, I'm going to show you how to fit it to the car. So the first thing you do is disconnect the battery in the boot, and then the second thing you do is pierce a hole in the side of the steering wheel so you can pop out the airbag, which I'm going to do now. So the access holes are located on the side of the steering wheel here. So you just get your tool and pop a hole through, and then push the spring to pop out the airbag. So it can sometimes be a bit tricky to get the spring with the tool in the side, but eventually you'll catch it, apply some pressure, and it'll pop the airbag out there. Once the airbag's out, I'll show you what the spring looks like inside, so it gives you a bit of a better indication of what you're actually aiming for. And then just do the same on the other side. There we go. And then again, pressure, pops out the airbag. Once you get to this point, you just unplug the clip here for the airbag, push that tab in, pop it out, and then put the airbag to the side. So the spring I was referring to, you can't actually see properly on this steering wheel because it's enclosed behind the horn plate there. But if I pop the tool back in, it goes into this channel here and it pushes the spring like that, which obviously releases the airbag clip there, and then same again on the other side. Once you've done that, you need to move the wiring out of the way for the paddles. And just unplug it, which can be a bit fiddly because there's not a lot of room. There you go. And then once the wire's loose, you've got this screw here that holds the paddle in, so just pop that screw out and then you can remove the paddle. Just unscrew. So the new paddles have got their own screws, so you don't need this one anymore, so just pop that out and then run the wire through. Again, it's a bit tight and it can sometimes be a bit fiddly, so just take your time with it and be careful so that you don't damage the plug on the way out or any of the other wiring. And that's one paddle out. So now that I've removed the old paddle, I'm going to refit the new one. Now, because these paddles are compatible with F series and G series cars, the only difference with them is the screws that you get in the pack. So because this is a G series car, I'll be using these screws, which are the shorter ones of the two. And then it's basically reverse of removing the old one. You run the wire through the little gap. Again, just be careful not to catch any other wires on the way through or snag anything. Just take your time. Once the wire's through, just seat the paddle. You feel it sit snug into like the recess for it. And then pop the new screw in. Just give it a little bit of a nip. It doesn't need to be over tight, so don't go too mad. And there you go. Just check to make sure that the paddle is actually functioning, because that's the difference in the screws. If you put the longer screw in on a G series, the paddle won't work because it will be pushing against it. So that gives you a good indication that you fitted the right screw, is just to check the paddle before you carry on. And then it's just a case of plugging the wiring in and re-clipping it back into its seat inside the wheel. Same process on the other side. Just pull the wiring out of the way to access the screw, unclip it, undo the screw, pull the paddle out, being careful of the wires. Again, a little bit tight and a little bit fiddly, so just take your time. And it's out. And then refit the second paddle, run the wires through, put them through, hold the paddle up, give it a bit of a push and it will seat itself. And the paddle will basically hold itself in. Same again, just check the paddle to make sure it functions and you're good to go. Plug the wire back in, reseat it, get your airbag back, plug it back in, line it up straight and firm push, and both sides will click in. Double check around the airbag to make sure it's all clipped in properly. Job done. Just reconnect the battery now and then you're good to go.
Paddles look absolutely fantastic, but what do they feel like? I can confirm they feel very satisfying and tactile. So the first time I experienced magnetic paddles was on a sim racer, because they're quite a popular upgrade for the steering wheels. And then in a real car, the first time I experienced them was in America, in a 992 GT2 RS with the WISAC package. So when you get the WISAC package, you actually have those magnetic paddles as an option, and I was like, really need to bring this to the BMW market, and we have them. And it was interesting that when we showed the prototypes to people at BIMAFest, we had a steering wheel with the paddles on and people just couldn't stop clicking the mechanism. And I don't know what it is about guys and this mechanism, but we just love it. And it's just added another dimension of enjoyment to the car. Obviously this is a ZF 8-speed gearbox and it's not as engaging as a manual, but it kind of gives you the same feeling that a gated manual would give. So it's a really satisfying click into changing the gear. So overall, I'm really chuffed with this product. This fits the G series as well as the F series BMW, and now we just have to decide what other models we're going to make for. Do we make for the E92, for example, the E46 with the SMG, and then maybe move on to things like Porsche and Audi? But it's one of those products now that I have experienced in one of our cars, and I just have it to have it in every other one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to smash that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you want to join the conversation, please drop a comment below and we'll try our best to respond to you. If you want to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you want to watch what YouTube thinks you might like from our other content, you can do so over here.